Power Force has given its season 2 release date. I'm going to be very honest and say that I have actually not even watched season 1. Don't judge me. There's Tommy. God bless him. Season 2 is coming out September.
I needed a sound effect for that. Like, what? You're either part of the Power universe or you ain't.
Now listen, okay?
You can't be picking and choosing and then, I don't want you to tell me because I ain't seen. It's what people are watching, so we gonna talk about it.
I know. I'm going to work on it. Okay.
It's Wednesday, May. Oh, you know what? I should read. Reading is fundamental.
A special, yep. But we're all struggling with outriders. So, good morning.
Facts.
It is a Wednesday, May 24th, which sounds crazy. I cannot believe it's May 24th. But welcome to This is America, your morning news show. Good morning, Alex. How art thou?
Good morning, Tiffanie. I am well. How are you?
I am good today. I have had my protein shake, my news, and now I'm ready to go.
Protein shake and news. I had a little bit more than that. Actually, oops. Regardless, where I live, it's legal. So
Blessings. That's a whole other show.
It is that we've done multiple times.
But yes, anywho, so we have quite a bit to cover today, but we're going to get it all in. But first and foremost, this episode is brought to you by LLC Stuff. Launch your business for $0 plus state fees, but learn more at Black Alert. That's BLKALERTS.com/LLC.
If we had writers, it would be on the screen. But you can spell
writers, it would be on the screen, but it's not. So
you can spell
it. Yes. All right, let's get to the show.
All right, so starting off, this one is insane because it affects everybody. You, me, well, I don't know if it's going to affect me. That's the one account that I'm not sharing with anyone. But Netflix, if you've been logged out of Netflix, you woke up or you tried to log on to your Netflix last night and it's not really your Netflix, you have been logged out. And the reasoning behind it, if it hasn't happened yet, it's going to happen, is because Netflix is cracking down on password sharing. Now, this is something that they tested globally first. And so this is not something that came to the United States first. But it worked successfully, and they're doing it mostly because they are losing money, right? So,
who isn't?
I mean, factually, Netflix began alerting customers that their password sharing days were over. In an email to the streamers, in an email to members, the streamer said your Netflix account is for you and the people that live with you in your household. All right, so family, they're changing the definition of family, and that's something.
I think that's why
should be well. I feel like that should be the counter argument. I don't think anyone that I've seen make that argument. You can't come out here and change the definition of family. For your pockets.
No, that's none of your business. First of all,
it's actually pissing me off as I think about it. I really didn't think I felt like I understand capitalism. I was fine with them doing something. I log into my Netflix, ain't nobody in there, so I don't really care. it's not affecting me directly, but I know everybody I know uses somebody else's Netflix.
And see, I started
However, the truth is, those people may not be your family, but it's not for Netflix to decide or define, right? Who gave Netflix the leeway to say, oh, we've decided that family no longer means this for us?
that is not your business. But
A lot of that goes on in this country, though,
right.
and it didn't start with Kellyanne Conway saying that we have alternative facts. Alternative facts have been a thing, but I think the freedom of people doing that became more rampant
Yes.
after she made that statement.
But I'm with you. My Netflix is one of my only accounts that I don't share. And even when I consider merging accounts, let me not say merging, even when I consider getting someone else's password or someone else getting my password, we literally have sat on the phone and said, I have been building my Netflix library and watch history for years. I am not starting over. Nope, never mind. I'll just be paying for it by itself.
That is an interesting perspective because I have never thought about my watch history at all. I don't care.
That
Because
algorithm
like,
is
what am
so
I?
specific. It's so specific. I'm not building that over again. It knows what I want to watch. It knows what to recommend for me. It knows where I've left off on shows that I
But
rewatch every year.
I know that, and maybe, and this is me counter arguing, not making a counter argument to your life decision, which really has serves no purpose. But um,
Meaning your
my,
counter argument serves no purpose?
I mean, my counter argument is simple. It's that AI is the way of the world, and so it's gotten smarter. So
Yes.
even though it took a long time because it wasn't where it was when you started building this algorithm, Miss Ma'am, it will know your algorithm after you watch three things. And it examines it's gonna scan the internet for what you watched on other places. And then I think you'll be fine. But
You know what? You just made me sound really old, and I would actually like to go to the next story.
I'm with it.
Because I had
I'm
not
with
thought
it.
about that counter argument, and you're probably right, and now I feel like I need to test it out, and now I just got annoyed and now I'm further annoyed because even now if I test it out and that works, they're cracking down on password sharing. So
So
what's
you missed out. You've been wasting
I've
money
been
when you could
wasting
have been
so
exactly.
much
And that's
time.
actually where I was going with my point, but I didn't want you to realize that right now.
Too late,
But
too late. This is why you don't do
apologies.
shows with your best friends because they just dash your hopes and your dreams and your perspectives and just I'm
I
so
mean,
I
I
am
like people to burst my bubble, right? Because I know a lot of useless information, and I just absorb information like that. I have a tendency to lean towards I just believe myself because I trust the information that I obtain. That doesn't mean that I think I'm right all the time, but I just trust it.
yeah, but then you share it and you burst a lot of bubbles. There has been a lot of music that you have ruined for me, but we won't get into that because I don't want to ruin songs like well, I don't want
How
to
would you feel to hear that music period is ruined for me because of how my brain works?
I get
Like
that.
it's very hard. I was listening to some commentary yesterday, and this lady was talking about how she was dating this man, and she invited him to her show. She was an actress, and he was so nervous. And he told her after the show, "If you hadn't been good, I don't know what I would have said because I don't like going to artistic things that my partners do because I'm brutally honest." And I would not be able to be in a relationship and lie to you. And I'm like, sometimes people expect that. I mean, respect that type of perspective. And then other times it's like, you know, but here's the thing, I'm not going to lie to you. So don't invite me if you want an honest opinion. I tell people that all the time.
Now I
And
agree
they're
with
really,
that wholeheartedly. Don't ask me a question you don't want to know the answer to because I just don't have a filter. And I don't discriminate. I'm not a discriminatory person of who gets my brutal honesty.
If I love you, mine's gonna be like the honesty is going to be probably to the extreme because I don't want to see you get hurt. And it's that's really where I'm always coming from, you know. But I've also learned that saying less, like while my friends don't really like that I say less, it's also helped me immensely because like now when I've watched things crash and burn and I could have said something, I'm just like, I've said something before and I didn't like how I felt after that. So, you know, it's this is about personal choices. And it's it's heartbreaking, but you feel like it's just, I don't know. I said to, and I think, you know, this whole family concept with Netflix also kind of spills into the truth about how the generation kind of really redefined that for their generation. Like, as
Absolutely.
we look at previous generations that are still with us, boomers, Gen X, and the things that they did were mostly traditional. And then it's like millennials come on the scene, and I'm in the middle of the millennial, right? So probably got all the characteristics, but the older ones, the younger ones, there was like the boomers and Gen X, they acted like they had never seen anything like this on the planet. Um, but a lot of it was just true expression of feeling. I'm gonna go to Friendsgiving because I like how it makes me feel.
Right.
I'm not coming there with a bunch of bigots. I'm not gonna do it. And it's not for the sake of family. Like that's and so that's you know what I'm saying? Like you would be shocked to find out how many people have their chosen family and have given those credentials, they're no those Netflix credentials, and would never give it to the
Oh,
blood.
all of my chosen family, we all share other platforms. I don't have a single blood relative on any of my stuff.
And with that, also going on, switching gears a little bit, Amanda Gorman, which many know after she performed her poetry at the inauguration of Joe Biden. She really shot to fame after that. She, her poem has been banned. I don't know another way to say it. Like,
And guess what state? Florida, who we talked about yesterday. So let's play a clip to remind everybody of the poem, just a snippet of it. It's a couple, the full poem was a couple of minutes, but we'll play a clip and then we'll talk about this ban on her inaugural poem, The Hill We Climb.
If we're to live up to our own time, then victory won't lie in the blade, but in all the bridges we've made. That is the promised glade, the hill we climb, if only we dare it, because being American is more than a pride we inherit. It's the past we step into and how we repair it. We've seen a force that would shatter our nation rather than share it, would destroy our country if it meant delaying democracy. And this effort very nearly succeeded.
So that is her poem, The Hill We Climb. She performed it at the 2021 inauguration, and now it is being banned in a Miami-Dade school in Florida. She stated, "I'm gutted," after learning that the poem was banned, and said it is censored books and poems and works like these, who are often authored by queer and non-white folks who have the most difficult time getting on bookshelves in general, for obvious reasons, of course. Those are the ones that are being banned. And so you listen to this poem that she really intended for it to be a unifying poem and an encouraging poem for us to say, we got to keep going. We have a lot of work to do, but we are Americans. We can do this work together if we build bridges and not create more violence. And so it was a really powerful poem. I thought, and I know many others thought, it was turned into a book. Wrote the foreword for it. So the insulting piece is, not only was it banned, but the instructor, like, the school refused to read the reviews, confused her with Oprah when asked who even authored the poem. Oprah, who wrote the foreword, and just, it was after a parent complained. Now, we talked about Florida already. You sent me a message from one of our mutual friends this morning who said, do you want to read it or summarize it? If not, I can summarize
Do
it.
I want to? I mean, I wanted to show it because honestly and truly, the sentiments there are my sentiments. Now, and even from this viewpoint, I think you and I have two different methodologies about certain things.
Hmm.
You know, there's a lot of information available to us as a population. There is. Now, the most recent studies show that 110 million people in this country are illiterate.
Right.
The people that are pushing oppressive, destructive bans and policies that institute bans that are worded, encoded dog whistle language to say things like has no educational value, or is harmful to children, or is sexually explicit. These things that are also part of life that we've all been taught in various ways are being used as tools to fuel, and they're being used as tools, I meant to say it this way, by the educated to fuel vitriol and disarray among the uneducated. Now, there's no way to address that gap without truth and education. You can't counter misinformation or disinformation with bad information.
You can, but you shouldn't.
You won't solve anything, right?
No.
So what you have is this interesting dichotomy where you've got educated people that have the education and they know what happens when the masses are educated. Progression, greater success, better health, better access, summarized equity. Equity happens when there's freedom of education, freedom of speech, like when these things work, then people have minds of their own. When
Yeah.
their education is limited, they by default trust their leaders. We have a bad leader epidemic in this country that
Oh my
spans
God. Yes.
government to education to religion.
Yes.
Terrible leadership. Terrible.
Yes.
So enabling it literally pisses me off. Right? I can only sit among it for just a period of time. I'm fueled to speak out. I will help power a charge. I will use every platform that I have to make sure that these messages get out.
Right.
But when I know that there is an active locomotive gaining speed and traction to counter this, in an instance that me protecting something could get me killed, I have to remove myself from that.
Yeah.
I can't do it for too long. Not only will I not support it, like you're not gonna see me in Florida. Like y'all, you don't have to. I go lots of places. Florida is not a place that I ever have to go.
Ever.
I have to come to Georgia because I have my parents live there. I have chosen family that lives there. I
Right.
don't want to come there ever. because there's an active locomotive. And because there's rampant illiteracy, there's no urgency amongst the population to stop that.
Well, and
So as
you said a
oh,
lack of leadership. That is when you said that, for me, it's not just elected officials. It is also we need leadership in our communities. And that means parents getting involved. That means and I was watching something earlier this morning and I don't recall who they were interviewing, but he said something so poignant and said folks hear of all of the federal level news and things that are happening and feel like they are not empowered to make change. You are, and we've said this on plenty of shows before. As a parent, go to a school board meeting, go to your local town meeting or council meeting or whatever is happening in your neighborhood. Your representatives represent you. Go have a conversation with them, call their office, schedule an
definitely,
appointment, go sit in their faces. Like you are empowered, and it starts in the community. This started from one parent making a complaint. The parent also complained about the ABCs of Black history, Cuban kids, countries in the news, Cuba, and Love to Langston, which is a book of poetry celebrating the life of Langston Hughes, citing indoctrination and CRT. This is after Governor DeSantis, dictator DeSatan, as I like to refer to him as, signed into law last week one of the new educational requirements for schools to pull any book that has been challenged or any work that has been challenged within 5 days of the complaint. This is and Florida is not the only state, and Miami-Dade is not the only place that has this type of law that they have to follow, where if a book or something's challenged, it has to be pulled. This is
so
not what should be
let me
happening.
t- let me tell you what you triggered in me, because it's something that we've also talked about before. And I'm a person that likes to educate, right? So I think definitions are really important. I think they're really important. But I'm going to remind you of a truth that you and I have talked about, but it's not talked about often, because the illusion that it's always, masses that have caused things to shift is nothing but an illusion. The civil rights movement that we all learned about was led by a remnant of people, just a small group of people that made that change. And people that most likely, it's not a fact, but people that are compelled to make change today most likely are descendants of people that have always been about change. The majority is always like, I want the noise to go away. I just want to live my life. It manifests itself today in friends and family that is like, I don't give a damn about politics, but turn up, pass me the hookah. Cool, pass the hookah until you can't pass the hookah anymore because you can't go out, you can't live. That's how it manifests it today. Your ancestors most likely were not at sit-ins getting waterboarded. But the people that were doing that are the people that made the change, the remnant. Now, just like a remnant can make a change there, one person is what has started. It's always one person that wants a book burnt banned. Now, one person speaks up and everybody else is silent. Does that make sense? It makes no sense at all, but that's how it works.
Right.
So that feeling that you're talking about, Tiff, that people get, that it's like you're right. I feel like I can't say anything. I feel like I'm being stifled. Your stifle is uh you are being stifled by your own by yourself, right? And it's not your fault. It's natural for you to feel like things are closing in on you when things are changing rapidly and you didn't see it coming. But you can make a difference. You can speak out. The other definition that I wanted to hit is because this is really what we're dealing with. You have in Florida specifically, you have this governor who was born in Florida, but is Ivy League educated. You can watch him in interviews and he pretends not to know words. He pretends like he's dumb. He went to Harvard, he went to Yale. Graduated at the top of his class at both. He is a wordsmith, and I have insults, but I'm not gonna go there. He's a wordsmith. He was part of the Tea Party, and again, when I say Tea Party and he's alive, you know I'm not talking about Boston.
Right.
But what he is a snowflake. And that's a derogatory slang term. But it's literally for people that claim or they have an inflated sense of uniqueness. So because I'm this, I'm so offended. I'm so offended by this. When we're out here banning drag shows because they're sexually like, this country was founded by men who wear wigs. When you think George Washington, you think wig. I don't know what you think. I don't think about Martha. I don't think about him being a founding. I think about his wig. I think about all of the wigs. Of them wigs.
They were literally called the wigs. Literally.
Shakespeare, who we all love and study. At the time, women had no rights, which y'all are trying to go back there. They had no rights. So you know who was performing? You know who Juliet was, the original Juliet? Do you understand that the original Juliet was a young boy? No, you don't understand that. Do you understand that at that time, they didn't even, pants have not, let me not do this. I know we got other things to do. I'm sorry. This is just, if we don't wake each other up, like if we don't.
Yes. 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 All of that. The point is family, people. We have said this before in a multitude of shows. Get involved. Get involved in your community. Find something to get involved in. If you walk outside and the air smells funny and it hasn't smelled funny before, look up in your neighborhood. There might be a water treatment plant there that needs maintenance that it's not getting because no one's holding your city accountable. If you are driving down the street and there's a pothole there that has almost taken your tire out every time you go over it, contact your city and hold them accountable for that. And in different cities and municipalities, there's different people who are to be held accountable for that. But it's not your governor and it's not the president. That is a local issue. You need a stoplight to get out of your subdivision. You need whatever it is. You don't have quality produce at your grocery store. That happened in my community. We contacted corporate office for the grocery stores in our neighborhood and immediately, not immediately like it wasn't the next day, but within a shorter period of time than I would have thought, we had a new produce manager and quality produce in our grocery stores. Just because the community, by and large, came together and used these apps that are community apps, that are neighborhood apps where you can connect with neighbors inside your specific, you live in a subdivision, you live in an apartment complex, whatever it is, there are ways to engage in your community. There are ways to even engage yourself in the work that needs to be done in your community. And trust me, it doesn't matter where you live, particularly on this stolen land, there is always work to be done. Find it and do it. And if it's just you that starts out, that's fine. Eventually, a remnant will join you. And even if they don't, there is work to be done. So, come on, y'all.
Here's the last thing I'll say to that. Everybody doesn't have the same convictions that you do.
Yeah.
So trust yours. Trust them. Act on them. Don't wait on somebody else to do something that you know needs to be done. Don't wait on yourself. I mean, I would know a lot of people wish I would wait. They've always wished that I would just shut the hell up. But you can't wait on things that really, really send you there.
Right.
And if all you're doing is thank you for your awareness and putting it on your Instagram story. Thank you, baby. Thank you. Go do something. Go do something. Do something.
Anything. Clearly banning books has set us off. So y'all.
And we're gonna do something about that.
Yeah, because
I'm committed to it. Believe that.
We're working on some things because that's unacceptable. Now, what also is unacceptable is a verified account posted images. We're not sure if they were AI generated or involved any type of artificial intelligence in the creation of the images, but posted images of an explosion of the Pentagon and the White House. That there was a statement from the Arlington Fire Department that had to come out and tweet and say that there was no explosion, there was no danger, and the image ended up pretty quickly being classified as fake. But before it was classified as fake, the S&P 500 stock market, y'all, the S&P 500 dipped by 0.26%. It quickly bounced once the image was proven to be fake. But this just goes to show how, like, while I appreciate the advancements of technology, um, I do understand the dangers that come with it, not only in the fact that this may have been an AI generated photo, but which again, we don't know if it was or was not, but also the fact that now anybody can buy a verified mark or a verified account and tweet something out and it goes viral. And then you still have to spend time trying to figure out, is this fake? Is this real? And now you're spending resources, or someone's spending resources trying to figure this out. What if the fire department, ended up sending a bunch of trucks there and then something else actually happened somewhere else and now they're over here because of a false report of an explosion at the Pentagon and the White House. So I definitely understand the dangers that occur with the advancement of technology, but there's also the dangers that occur when you do stuff like open up verifiable accounts on a social media app that you shouldn't do, because now anyone can do this. And there was what really made it go viral was a retweet from a Russian state media owned company, or account essentially. And also another account that tweeted it was an impersonation of Bloomberg. It was called at Bloomberg feed. And so they also posted it and the account has now been suspended, but some damage was already done. And it could have been worse. And we thank God that it wasn't worse, but it could have been. And so I know you and I talk about AI quite a bit. We talk about Chat GPT quite a bit. Excuse me, we talk about these different apps quite a bit, but how do we, and there was just a hearing, what was that, last week, where the owner of ChatGPT went and testified before Congress. So how do we start to look at and really have this conversation between the different perspectives between, yes, AI is a good thing, can be a good thing, and also iRobot. Like, how do we have that conversation? AI, robots versus the benefits. And maybe it's not a versus, because I do think that there's room for simultaneous growth and conversation.
That's
But
the only option. So
yeah,
that, and I agree with you. Most people are there. Oh, I think there's room. I think you've got to move beyond that. Even with Twitter, like we talked about this in our meeting before, it now means that you're not a bot. It
right,
doesn't mean that you always have the right information. The Atlantic had an article, I didn't share it with you, but I will call it, and all it says is Twitter is a right wing network.
whew,
And it had me re examine everything, right? Like, what am I doing on here?
right,
Yes, it is the best place for me to get news instantly. It's been the best place for almost 15 years for me to get information out.
right.
There's got to be something else because the owner is a self-described right-wing conspiracy theorist
I mean,
that he elevates all types of like debunked theories and ideas. So
and fired the people who fact check on that platform.
there's
And
no press office, there's no fact
no,
checkers,
no, he
there's
fired them
no
all.
controls.
He
The
fired them all.
racism is up.
The racism is up, and it like immediately ticked up as soon as he became CEO. And now today they're holding, basically a press conference on Twitter Spaces on the Muskie Bird app for DeSatan to announce his presidential bid. Why are you doing that?
Why not?
I mean, I'm sure that's
Like,
how.
what are we doing? That has to be the question.
And
There's not that I can't be shocked by anything that happens. Donald Trump was the president. And I say that all the time, but Donald Trump was the president. Donald Trump, okay? People knew who he was before he was the president. And then he became the president. After video tapes that y'all would never let these people be president in the past. Y'all just kind of wanted to see what would happen. And I understand a black man was there and that made y'all uncomfortable for 8 years. And he really didn't do.
I'm like, he didn't even do. Never mind. That's a whole other conversation.
He was the president, but you know, I think that it's imperative for us to know what's going on.
Yeah.
If we're weighing why he's doing what he's doing, he has no charisma. He's only popular in Florida, and he's desperate, right? He's picked all these fights, and he wants to stand. He doesn't believe that Americans want him, right? He doesn't believe that at all. But he does believe that he can force Americans to have him, just like he can force Florida to do what he's doing. So no one has ever said, "I wish America was more like Florida."
No, it's going to. Bugs Bunny in a cartoon in the 50s, 60s cut Florida off of the United States in a cartoon. Bugs Bunny. And it lives
Speaking of bugs, have you ever, for those of you that have been to Florida, they have insects that you've never ever heard of. Amazon level insects.
I mean, you're not wrong. But you're right. And honestly, every time I get on the Muskie Bird app, I have seen another person or another celebrity or another organization or another business say, this will be our final tweet. We will not be returning to this platform because it has just gone too far. And I see, all the apps and things that are popping up for different people to go different places or anything. I want us to come to a consensus of where we are moving to. But not only that, you said something else that, really, I know we've been having serious, and I want to be kind of careful about how I say this and what I'm about to say. I know quite a few people at this point who have moved or visited out of the country and said, I'm never coming back. I will never live for an extended period of time on that land again. Yes, where I'm at, and that's everywhere from South America to Africa to Europe. Folks are like, it has its own issues here, but America is American-ing, and I can't do that anymore. And really, we should have seen the writing on the wall, like you said, when this country elected Trump. I don't know how much
impeached him twice and kept him there.
And he's still up in the polls. He's still.
I mean, he's up in his polls, for them.
Right.
And so I really don't give a damn about a Republican poll. I would love for him to have the nomination, honestly, because he lost last time. People are people were texting me do you remember what happened last time? I do. Joe beat him by 8 million. I remember that. So you can talk about how old Joe is, how slow he is. Joe, a 50-year politician, he knows what the hell he's doing. So attack him. You don't like him. No, you don't like your mayor. You don't like your governor.
Right.
It's not Joe. Joe can't fix Atlanta. You know what I'm saying? He can't. Right. Joe can't fix the transit problems there.
No.
He can't stop Cop City.
But again, that goes
so
back
be as mad at Joe as you want to be.
Right.
that your problem is local. It's your issue is local. So as we were alluding to when we got here, the post was like, how could you go down there and support and enable this? Oh, I want to go to Miami. I want to go to the beach. There are beaches everywhere, literally everywhere. There are fake asses everywhere, literally everywhere. These other countries actually look more like America. These other countries are starting to look like the dream of America, like the propaganda that they put out there about America. That's how the other places actually are.
Imagine that.
With healthcare.
Imagine
and
that.
services.
And better tax system.
You know.
And better gun laws.
But really the point of all of this is that what we do, like I think, and when I say like we have separate, it's not even separate methodologies. You're more compelled to fight certain things than I am. I will not die fighting for rights. Like I will be gone living in life is limited. And I am so grateful, thankful. I'm on record saying so many times that I would stand in traffic for John Lewis. I literally would have done that. I don't want to be John Lewis. And I don't knock John Lewis. People that want to be John Lewis, I don't want to do that. And most of you don't. But there is one thing you can do. There's something that you can do, right?
Right.
I don't knock people that say, again, you know how I feel. I feel like nobody should be doing. Yes, you have life calling and a life purpose. I just don't believe, and this is my belief because I can have one. You can have your own. We don't have to agree. I don't think anybody's supposed to be doing the same thing their whole life. You got to do something else. The reason why you have seasons, that we don't have the same seasons all year. We don't have, like, that's not how life works. Your life should not be the same thing all year because you're not good. You have greater experience, you have greater perspective on things. That's why we love elders, right? I love elders. I love the wisdom that comes from them. I love the knowledge that comes from them. But elders know that their aptitude is not what it was when they were young. Their agility is gone. Like, you're not good forever. I discovered this at church when I realized that pastors be like, I'm gonna retire here. But why is my church dead? Because you are almost dead too.
Alex.
I digress. But literally, like that's where we are. Like, you don't have to do everything. And I think that is the pressure that people feel.
Especially
they feel like I have to do everything.
No, especially if you are in a Black, brown, and disenfranchised group. We shouldn't be doing everything. Black women should not be doing everything. Black communities should not be trying to heal itself. No. And that, I'm with you. And I had to tell my mother this the other day when we were talking about future plans and all of this. I said, I don't know how long I'll be here. And she said, in Georgia? I said, no, this country. I just don't know. Because
to compound that, you don't know how long you're going to be on the planet.
I don't know how long I'm going to be on the planet. And the older I think you and I both have gotten, the more we have learned, I don't know what tomorrow holds. So we can make all of these plans, we can do all of these things, but God may call me to Africa tomorrow. God may call me to Europe tomorrow. God may call you to Portugal tomorrow. Like, we don't know. We don't know. And I think leaning into that we don't know, while also looking at the trajectory of what we are watching and what we do know,
we can make better decisions. And we can. And your decisions, again, that pressure isn't real, right? The pressure that you feel to be the one that solves it all, you don't have to do that, but you can speak up. You can, I feel like we don't do it. And sometimes it's just a lack of knowledge, lack of awareness. I don't feel like I know enough to speak on that. You know, people call me, I wish you could can you tell me about this candidate? Tell me about voting time comes and people like, Alex, who we voting for?
Literally.
And it's been like that, forever.
Forever.
And a little bit of testament to, like, I'll take it. Okay, you get some information from me. But I want you to know that basic thing, right?
Yeah.
Because might go somewhere and not come back. And I'm prone to doing that. I really am. So I think we can leave that there. I just think that more often than not, fear cripples people, and we have to be conduit or willing to help people become less fearful by bringing them with us. Right? When you do decide to do something, bring somebody with you.
Absolutely. Absolutely. But also don't wait to bring somebody else with you. Do it. Do it afraid.
So, as we were alluding to when we got here, the post was like, how could you go down there and support and enable this? Oh, I want to go to Miami. I want to go to the beach. There are beaches everywhere. Literally everywhere. There are fake asses everywhere. Literally everywhere.